Hello there, my name's Andrew Roberts-Wray of the Young People Index, and I want to talk to you about helping to prepare yourself for having careers conversations with your children. So this video looks at the changes in the world and how that's affecting the future, and also focusing on the skills that young people will need for the future. And I hope that by working through this, it will help you and reassure you in the best way to help your children and helping your family to make really difficult decisions for the future. So looking at the future of work, there's a great deal of discussion about the fourth industrial revolution, the technological advances and AI, talking about robotics, talking about globalization, and all of this leading to a very rapid change of jobs. And the interesting thing about what we've just all been through with COVID-19 is that is probably only just accelerated that transformation and those changes. So the World Economic Forum does a regular survey of what's happening with jobs, what's happening with skills, what are the predictions from major corporations and organizations across the world. And their latest survey suggests that by 2030, over 60% of jobs that will exist then do not exist today. So this is talking about a very rapid change. It's talking a rapid change of types of jobs. It's also talking about rapid change of skills required in those jobs. And there's a significant shift, not just of whole jobs, but of significant parts of jobs being performed now by machines. So what this means is that some of the boring or repetitive parts of people's jobs will disappear, and that can mean that they could be more, people can be more creative, do the more interesting parts of their job. But that also comes with a risk, because if employers feel that they don't need to employ as many people because machines are taking away chunks of people's jobs, it could mean that redundancies will follow, or people will be asked to work shorter hours and therefore pay less money. So in 2018, when the World Economic Forum looked at different jobs, which were stable, which were going into decline, and which ones would be increasing and growing over the next few years, there were some surprising results. Engineering looks strong, particularly in electronics and energy and technology, but mechanics and repairers of machinery, whether that's from cars or industrial machinery, look to be in decline. Again, probably robots taking over many of those jobs. Lawyers and financial analysts are set to decline, while innovators, designers and marketeers are all set to grow jobs in those areas. Technology looks set to replace repetitive and administrative and knowledge-based jobs, but human skills will continue to be in high demand, particularly creativity, because AI robots are not able to do that so far. And therefore human beings with those sorts of skills definitely be in demand, particularly if that can be allied with technology. With those changing types of jobs then, different skills become more important, and employers are looking to retain existing employers or recruit new employees with those new skills. So for yourselves, that could mean a lot more reskilling, upskilling, particularly in the areas of technology. But for your children, they come with an advantage. They've grown up with technology, so that could be really helpful to them. But they need to learn how to apply that technology to the world of work and business. Some major firms then are now looking for not just people with the right skills, but people with the right values and attitudes, because employers have over the last few years been unhappy, disappointed with millennials through to Generation X and whatever is the current generation going through of young people, because they feel that young people aren't committing or committed to working for them. And to be honest, I can't really blame many of those young people. Shorter contracts, 0 hours contracts are often the case. Employers expect young people to do apprenticeships, internships for very little money and give them no guarantee of a future. So they wonder why young people go, do I really want to be committed to this organisation? But I think it's also more about young people not really understanding what they're getting into. They often know what jobs they want to do, or have an idea what jobs they want to do, but they don't really know whether the organisations they're going to work for are the right ones. It's also very interesting that some of the major professional type firms are now no longer just looking for exam results. They are saying that they want the right people for those jobs. So they're looking at these other people skills. And many of the biggest organisations in the UK and across the world are saying, actually, we don't want to recruit people just with grades. In fact, we don't even want to know what their grades are. We want them to do, if they meet a certain minimum requirement academically, what we want then is to find out whether they're the right people. And so they have a very extensive process to find people with the right skill sets and people with the right values for their organisations. And it means that experience, either through volunteering and a whole range of experience is required. Experience is helpful in picking up some of the skills that they're not going to be able to find at school. But it was also experience through volunteering, through internships, through just working for holiday job type money. All of those things are very useful, but it's particularly helpful if they have experience in the areas that they are most interested in going into. So it's very important this happens as early as possible in a young teenager's life, so that they have got lots of examples to show employers that they genuinely have the abilities and skills and values that they are looking for. So, how can parents and carers help prepare young people for the future? I think it's also important to remember that these same forecasters that are looking at the different changes in jobs are also expecting young people to be doing, on average, 30 different jobs in a lifetime, which is way more than was expected of their grandparents and even of you, their parents. Preparing for that is also an important thing. Talking to young people, they often divide into two camps, either no idea or they're fixed on an idea. And I think an approach probably that will help them and certainly help you to advise them is to get them to say, actually, let's not just look at one possible outcome, let's look at a range of possible outcomes. And that means looking at a particular range of things that not just that they're good at doing, but also what they enjoy doing, because jobs that you enjoy are things that you may turn into your own business at one stage later in life, or ideally you can combine the two and find an organisation that perhaps wants to save the planet because that's what you're passionate about, but at the same time offers you the opportunity to be an engineer. So there are ways in which you can combine both skills and passions to find the right jobs within the right types of organisations. So once someone's discovered that they have a range of different jobs that they might potentially want to work in, or potentially industries that they might want to work in, the plan then is to make sure that they get sufficient academic grades to allow them to do the largest number of those jobs possible, which is an important point for them and helping them to put school into perspective. So instead of school being just about producing grades, it becomes a mechanism for achieving success in later life, and exam results will help them achieve as many varieties of different potential jobs that they might want to do as possible. And I think once that discussion starts to happen, young people can see a more of a vested interest in their own futures, and it helps them to work harder towards the grades that they want to achieve, because they've got a definite purpose and to aim for, without being too focused just on one possible outcome. And I think it also helps to bring a touch of realism for those that set their sights very high, when actually their academic grades will never allow them to achieve this. So giving them a range of options allows flexibility in terms of academic results, but it also takes the pressure off just having to hit a set of grades, particularly when you then say to them, actually, grades are important, we want those, but at the same time you've got to get the experience to make sure, one, that it's the right direction you want to go in, but secondly, that you've got that to offer when you go for interviews and possible jobs. The one really important message that you should take from this video is that actually research shows across the whole world, not just in the UK, that parents and carers are still the #1 source of advice and support when young people are making decisions about their future. So over 80% of students interviewed across a whole range of different countries say that if they want to make a serious decision about their life, they're going to go and see their parents and carers. Which is good news, because you can at least have an influence and a stake in their future lives. However, unless you know what potential options there are out there and what the implications of all these changes are going to be, you're going to find that conversation difficult to have, and be very difficult to give advice other than what you know, because that's what you do. So, where's the best place to start that conversation? Well, I like to get young people to look at themselves when they're marketing themselves for a job by defining themselves as a personal brand. Most of them understand what brands are, most of them like owning brands. The idea here is to look at them and get them to discuss with you. So by having these discussions with them about, first of all, what are they good at, skills and qualifications, 2, what do they like doing in terms of interests, hobbies and their passions, and 3, what are their values and what do they stand for. Get them to write those down, and that will help then to have the discussion about what are the range of potential jobs and options that could fit to those different criteria that we've just highlighted. And that will help them just to have a little bit of sense of purpose and direction that can help them not just prepare good marketing material on themselves, but also how to prepare themselves for potential options later in life. We do offer short course programs for you to work alongside your children, and we offer them to the students as well, to be able to work through on their own, or again alongside you. So I would suggest that you have a look at the BCP website and the Young People Index website for how to apply for those other mini courses, or equally some schools are working with us and offering them as online courses as well.